This is a TVZ. StarCraft is better than HOTS, and is better than Work, and HOTS is better than Wings of Liberty.
Your forces are under attack. Your forces are under attack.
Alright, so the goal of this build was to get 17 Marines across the field at 6 minutes. It looks like something went clearly wrong, right? You shouldn't have 300 minerals after already starting the command center and not have a supply depot down. Something's going wrong. So right around now is when you should be arriving with probably 13 Marines with 4 more crossing the field. Right? And if you had arrived right now, you probably would have done okay. It looks like you're coming a lot later than normal. And I don't know what delayed you, but your money is really piling up, and you don't have enough depots, and you don't have enough gas. And when you do get across the field, these Marines don't stand a chance. And what you did with the Marines is so silly. Don't spread your Marines against Lings and Queens and Spines. That's just, I mean, you might have seen the Banelings and been spreading because you thought they were going to show up, but the fight's going to be decided before the Banelings get there, and they're slow Banelings off creep. You don't have to worry about them. Okay, so that's why you started spreading, is because there was a Baneling and it splashed, and you're like, okay, I need to split. But that's, you know, that's not right. You just stutter step backwards. And like I said when we were practicing, if a Queen ever shoots at one of your Marines, you're doing something wrong. As long as there are Lings near you and Queens near you, you want to go all the way back until the Queen can't hit any of your Marines, and then start shooting at Lings until the Queen is about to fire again, and then go all the way back and then start shooting at Lings and wait till the Queen's about to fire. The point of the stutter step here is to not let the Queens do damage. You're faster than them once they get off creep, and you're the same speed as them when they're on creep. And Queens have they're very much like Thor's in that they have a broken shot animation. So if you stutter step versus a Queen, he can't stutter step back. When a Queen takes a step and then shoots and then takes a step and then shoots, it actually reduces his DPS, whereas it doesn't reduce a Marine's DPS to do that. So you should always stutter step against Queens. So you didn't get guys on gas quick enough. You're throwing down the engineering bays. You don't have guys on gas still. You did wall in. I like that. You're making a 5th Rax. That's fine. 6th, 7th Rax. Just barely getting the factory now because you got your gas so late. We're going to go all... I mean, I don't want to try to remember what's supposed to be happening in here. I just want to go to 15 minutes and see if you got the gist of it, right? But you're not making a double wall in. It's pretty important to make a double wall in. I mean, I think you're playing against your own friend, and you know that he's not going to Baneling bust, so you don't bother. But in general, you do want to double wall in. It's 14 minutes. 2-2 is nowhere near done. At 15 minutes is when we're really going to worry about it. Boop, you're doing a drop. Not watching it. Yeah, so you made enough army. You have your 3rd command center. You've got a reasonable number of workers. I would really like for you to have taken your 3rd a lot earlier. But you kind of, you know, you generally get enough done. You built enough army and you got the upgrades done a little bit late. And let's see if you have the 14 Marines at a time production. Come on, production menu. You can do it. So yeah, your gas was late, your ups were late. And therefore your push is late. And you're never getting up to 14 Marines at a time of production. It looks like you're doing 3 Marauders and 8 Marines, which I guess is about the equivalent of 14 Marines at a time, but I prefer pure Marine. But, you know, Nick prefers Marine Marauder like you do, so I guess I can't say too much about it. It's just that with pure Marine, you do a lot more damage to the Zerglings. And the whole point of the Suicidal Aggression Mass Marine Medevac with upgrades kind of thing is to larva starve him, so the more lings you kill, the more larvae he has to spend to replace them, and once he runs out of larvae, you win the game. So making Marauders is better theoretically against the Infestors and against the Banelings, but, you know, who cares? Infestors and Banelings, they're going to do the same number of fungals and the same amount of splashiness whether you make Marines or Marauders. Anyway, whatever, it's a moo point, it's the cow's opinion. And this second push is good. I mean, I'm glad that you did it, and that you did it pretty quickly after your first push. But every time you start fighting, if you look in this production menu, it's empty. So there you go, stimming your dudes, spreading them out. You're gonna all die. The medevacs don't seem to be helping in either of these fights. I think it's because you're attacking from too far away. Again, you want to attack in short movements, short movement, like that, so that your medevacs stay above your army, so that your army stays roughly close to, everyone stays close to each other. This third should really have started mining around 12 minutes. It's 18 minutes, and you're still not mining from your third. This is quite bad. Your opponent has so much money. Like, you should have lost the game already. He should have just counterattacked and killed you. You would be dead if he attacked you right now. Not like if he attacked you with what he had, but if he attacked you with a 200 unit space army and then made another 200 unit space army as that first one died and just flooded you and killed you, you'd be dead. And he has the money to do that, and he's only not doing it because he's not got the... I mean, I would say he doesn't have the larva for it, but he has a bunch of larva. I don't know. I don't know why he doesn't just kill you now. He should. Roy Rogers. And they all rolled over and won something off. So you do a drop, multi-prong drop, then you're going to do another push at the front at the same time as you do a drop in the back. This is great. Anytime you're playing against Zerg and you don't do multi-pronged stuff, it just makes the game so easy for the Zerg, because he just gets one hotkey and he A-moves it around like he's doing right here. Zerg is way easier than Terran to play if your opponent lets you play like this, where you just have one hotkey and you move your army around and all you have to worry about is fungals. It just becomes really easy to play. What makes Zerg hard is defending multiple locations at once. That's actually quite hard to do, and the great Zergs do it very well. Again, it's 22 minutes in. You should have 5 bases by now, and you only have 3. This has been true in all of your games, TVT and TVZ, not TVP, obviously. I feel like you're not ballsy enough with taking new bases. You gotta understand that if you take a base when you don't feel like it's safe, and then you lose that base, you remember that really well, and you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that. But if you take a base when you don't think that it's very safe, and you get to keep it, and you get tons of money out of it, it's not very memorable, because you put the base down and then you never have to look at it again. So people get this asynchronous, or I don't know what it's called, where you remember bad things more than you remember the good things, and so you start to convince yourself that it's never a good idea to just go take a base blindly. And it's never a good idea to go take a third super blindly when your opponent is sitting at the watchtower outside of your third or something. But it's almost always worth it to just take more bases as soon as you can. As soon as you build a base, you should go take it. Because we're Terran, our bases fly, and we can usually get away even if they do intercept us. And that's especially true against Ling Infestor. I mean, it takes... Infested Terran eggs come out pretty slowly. Most of the time, you're gonna come out ahead just taking a base. And also, we have tons of mules. So if we spend 550 on a base that turns into a planetary, right? and we drop 10 mules at it, and those 10 mules mine for 1 minute, and then he kills that base, it more than paid for itself. So you just need to be more ballsy about taking bases. Take bases more often, and take more of them. Like, another thing, especially in TVZ, as a Zerg, like I said, there's this one hotkey syndrome where they like to have their army in a little ball and walk around and deal with your army and all that kind of stuff. If you take 2 bases at a time and morph them both into planetaries, then typically he'll kill one of those bases and the other one will get up. You know, just like, why not? Easy peasy, take 2 bases. Especially if it's 24 minutes into the game. I would definitely like to see you taking both of those bases at once now. So again, you walk across the field, just kind of spread your dudes out. You don't trade very efficiently, but you delay him a little bit longer. He kind of suicides some stuff into you there. He fails to prevent your 4th here. He's not mining from his own base here. The multi-pronged drops are really what got you traction in this game. But honestly, he has so much money in the bank that he's losing these fights. It's his own fault, you know. You're kind of outplaying him, you know. It's not so much like that you did something that was so perfect that there's no way he could have defeated it. It's more like you did something that was good and he should have beaten it and didn't. Just because looking at the money that both of you pulled out of the ground, he's got 7.5K in the bank. He should be dead. And this is the way multi-prong drop stuff is a great way to always beat people that you're better than, because it's just so hard. It's so hard for you to do. It's so hard for Terran to do multi-prong drops. Multi-prong drops are very hard to do, but it's equally hard to defend. So if you raise the skill level, the minimum skill required of the game, then it'll differentiate the better players from the worst players. Like, if you both just make an army and then A move and the army meets in the middle and fights, you can lose to much worse players, because if they just get the composition right, or they get a slightly better engagement or all that kind of thing. Yeah. Also, anyway, point is, if your opponent is in a lower league than you, you should always be doing multi-pronged stuff. So he's winning a lot of these fights, but he's not really mining because of your multi-pronged stuff. And you still haven't even tried to secure a 5th. You got some dudes over there. You're eventually gonna secure your 5th. You never made a Raven. You're not really trying to recede creep. I forgive you. I think it's so easy to spread creep now that it's sometimes not even worth bothering to try to spread it. But this late into the game, especially when you're stuck at 200U a lot of the time, it's important to remember that a Raven is $150 per supply, whereas a Marine is 50. So if you're gonna max out, you should have lots of Ravens in your army. Also, especially against someone who makes infestors, Ravens, once they have enough energy for Seeker Missile, get a guaranteed 1 infestor kill. An infestor costs the same amount as, or close to the same amount as a Raven. So I'm not saying you should mass Ravens, just that once you secure that 4th base and you need to add another building to start spending your gas, it's good to get at least 1 Raven. You know, if you can make Banshees, you can make 1 Raven. Good job, man. He mined a ton more money than you. You should have lost that game for sure. But the multi-pronged drops are what won it for you. So do more of that. It's good times.